Good evening and welcome to the HC Media presentation of Never Alone. My name is Captain Adamos and I'll be escorting you through this game this evening. I want to say hi to everybody hanging on out, and I hope you are doing well. Looking forward to doing this particular game. It'll be a little bit different, I think, than maybe some of the other video game type streams that you've watched. If you haven't seen the game before, it is a platform puzzle game. The platform genre is not Captain Adamos's favorite genres of games. But this particular one is it was one of the ones that I originally, when I wanted to start doing the HC Media streams, this was one of the games that I wanted to show people, mostly because it's kind of a game that's flown under the radar. It's an independent game, put out very small distribution. Picked it up on Steam back in 2014 when it first came out. The concept of it had kind of fascinated me, and we'll get to that in a moment as far as part of the reason why I wanted this. But the game itself is beautiful looking. That alone is one of the reasons why I wanted to display this particular game on HC Media for its art style. Gone are definitely the days of Mario World when it comes to platform puzzle games. And not only that, but there's a lot of very interesting things about how this game came out, was distributed, and some of the other things about it. We'll take a look at it here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to completely wipe the slate and start over again. But in the game, one of the things that happens is as you go through the different levels, you'll come across the save points, and at each one of the save points you unlock a new video that you can watch, and will explain and tell you a little bit more about the character, a little bit more about why this part of the story is happening the way it is. And it's very interesting, and we'll take a look at a lot of that stuff as well as we go through and take a look at this. But like I said, I wanted to say welcome to everybody coming to join us here this evening for HC Media presentation of Never Alone. I see Coley's in the house. Good to see you, Coley. Glad you can make it. Hick is also in the house. Welcome, Hick. And glad you are doing well. Seems the car is doing quite well. Also, looks like Blind's here. Good to see you, and glad you can make it, Blind. Appreciate you being here for tonight's game. This is a kind of a neat one, and part of this in doing this game, I had to kind of run the idea of how to do this and how to present it, and been very shaky on the whole idea of doing this, just because, like I said, not a platformer type person, and I'm always trying to make sure that, you know, it doesn't get boring when you're sitting and watching the stream. And a big thank you to Rahuru for more or less convincing me that this was a good idea, and much appreciated. And we'll take a look at some of the other stuff. But like I said, thank you to you, all of you, for tuning on in, and welcome to the show this evening. Okay, one of the things that I wanted to start this one off with is taking a look at the cultural insights section that comes up. This is the video stuff that I was talking about, and I took a look at these and found ones that I definitely want you to see here before we get started with the game, so you'll kind of have an idea of where we're coming from. Okay, we'll start here. This is one of the first ones that's unlocked when you're playing the game.
It'd be busy, busy, busy all through the day. You get up and you just go right to work, you know, right to work.
There was always something to do. There was never any idle time. The only idle time we had was after we eat and before we go to bed.
One of the older people would just be relaxing, laying down there and saying, you know, it'd be really nice to hear a story. And then just organically, someone would just start telling a story.
Storytelling for the Inupiaq people is very important because it not only created that sense of community, but is a way to pass on wisdom to the next generation.
It was like TV, you know? It was just like, it was as good as anything, any movie you've ever seen. And the storyteller told it so clearly that it was just as powerful as any of the greatest movie blockbusters you've ever seen.
There was a reason behind the stories that we were told because they held traditional knowledge. They held things that we might need to know in life, whether it was about how to find food or how to survive, or it was about well-being and the importance of connecting with people and being a good member of the community.
We all do stories. We all live in stories. We all tell stories to our friends, and they need to be told. They need to be heard.
One of the things I think a lot of people need to understand is we aren't a museum piece. The Inupiaq people are a living people and a living culture. Even though we're in northern Alaska, which covers this vast area from Nome all the way over the Canadian border, is that there is this extreme value of interconnectedness and interdependence.
It's a hunting society, a gathering society from thousands of years.
This is what creates our culture.
That special relationship between humans and the natural world and the animals, and that it teaches you how to have a society that doesn't do too much harm to the world.
Love and respect for nature, for one another, for our elders. Very, very fundamental value, key to life.
Our values are something that bind us all. The importance of sharing with one another, the importance of spirituality, and the connection to the land, our traditions, how we hunt, sharing of stories and songs and dances.
I'm Inupiaq. I'm from the Arctic Ocean.
I am Inupiaq.
It's very important to me. It's who I am as a person.
And we're very proud of who we are, and we want to continue that.
Okay, so this is one of the ways that they want to continue their way of life, and this game is basically put out by some folks that put it together to tell this story of this girl that is a story that's been passed down through generations. This is a very interesting way of doing it. A very new, obviously, kind of concept, but I thought that they did this very well, and it should be quite interesting. As far as the videos go for this, what I'll do is I've got a couple of planned spots where I can run a few of them to kind of show you as we're going along what they have that you unlock at these certain points. So we'll take a look at those as we go along too, but that should kind of set the stage for what we're going to be looking at here. This is like I said, a kind of cultural story, but in kind of looking into it, my understanding is it's not just this single Nuit tribe. It is kind of put together through a lot of the Arctic people, and so it's got bits and pieces of things. It's kind of like I guess it's kind of like an epic tale, and it's very well done in the game sense of it. A couple of things before I get started with it to let you know. I believe I'll be able to get a good chunk of the game done itself, but I might take and split this into 2 weeks. So we're going to kind of keep an eye on the clock, and I want to hit at about the 2-hour mark. We'll see where we're at as far as the story and as far as the game goes. So that gives us about an hour and 40 minutes from now as we're going along. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining me here as we get started with tonight's HC Media episode, Never Alone. Oh, I should also mention this too. This story is, there's going to be some reading involved. The entire story is in being told by the storyteller himself, and all of the narration is subtitled. I couldn't find a really good way to be able to read it without talking over the subtitling, so for the purposes of this, I won't be reading. I'll just kind of let the game play out itself. But there are some places, like here, this is the section that I just showed you. When you start the game for the very first time, you get this splash screen here. The Inupiat people and Alaskan Native people who have thrived for thousands of years in one of the most formidable environments on Earth. And then, as you can see, you will go through these unlockable cultural insights in order to see them. I tried to wipe the game, but it wouldn't put me back to 0 on the insights. God, I played this a couple of times and uninstalled it a few times, and it's actually transferred, I think, 2 computers. So that's where it was at as far as this one goes. I have found this to be a very fun game to just kind of chill out to. It's not quite like the game we ran last week, Tengami, where it's just an AMSR exercise. Some beautiful artwork in that, and kind of the same here. Since this is a platformer game, you'll kind of see that a lot of the artwork is very quickly there and gone. It's a very quick moving game at times, and some of it is very interesting to see, but I think it'll work kind of cool here. So we'll get started here right now. Thanks again for watching, and here we go. Enjoy Never Alone.
Unip ka o te aksik pen. Dala ni rakan nasuk unip ka to kawi rakap. Ibe aksik arwalu ko inyo ni akan iksuk ang ayukaga mani. Sumitem. Ibe aksik arwalu kamu ni alatun iksuk. Asi surakal labluni, supayanik. inyune ahoting ano kautigais. Ano hulinga ilakso. Ano hulinga ilak pasyone. Kisay ma panirene ilak sibut. Nibiak siya karolo kisay ma isummerto. Taprasi kangit chako aksiga summan. Ano huli suru kumakan. Summan ano huli nga ilak makan. Taprasi kangit chako aksiga summan. Ano huli suru kumakan. Ano hulak pa siyuni, sunira ka na tsakon ni. Tapos ni Beak siya karewalap, ayungit tsak. Padyagni ulik siya. Tokotawayak tok kisimreome. Aranap ka nga piyak tok.
Okay, so we got a couple of deaths out of the way there, and you get kind of a feel for how this goes. Basically, you switch back and forth in between the two different characters as you go along. This game can also be done in co-op mode as well, so you can have a second player playing along with you as one or the other character. I'm going to make sure right now that we are in single player mode, and since we just got our friend here, the fox, I wanted to show you this video here.
When I was growing up, my grandpa had a pet white fox. If you're a good friend with a fox, when there's danger abound, they try to keep you from getting into trouble. They pull tricks here and there, and foxes are like spoiled little kids in a way. When you let her out, she'd go prancing out in the snow, jumping in the air. I know she was happy then. Come running at me and jump on my chest, knock me backwards, lick my face, and I try not to let it. So that was my memory of my grandpa's pet fox.
So, as you can kind of see here, you get kind of these little intermission spots here. The weather did not clear up as the blizzard was followed by yet another blizzard. If you caught that there in the very beginning opening sequence, is kind of what has happened. Is this village is being basically buried by an endless string of blizzard after blizzard. And so we are setting out to try to find out what is going on, and we have enlisted the help of this white fox to help us, and they are the duo that we will work with as we go through. Also on this screen here, they mention Robert Cleveland. Nasaruk is the storyteller for this. He was very very pleased to be consulted in this, and I believe it's in one of the videos that we'll get to in a little bit. But very cool and very well done as far as this section of it goes. So what we'll do is we'll get started here, and I'll show you around the environment.
Niviaksiagarualuk kangersingarok supaya ikayok tekakane bilugit. Allawlun itam na terigan niak. Sibuneksip kangaga niviaksiagarualuk kanutun pekpaganak tilangit tamat ko ikayok tauruat. Niviaksiaqalualugulo teriganniaqalu ikayuuti piaqtuk. Siqaqaniortimigini. Araa kangeqsinaitsoqunni qanuq pisilaanga. Aglaan dabra atautsikun aingaluk. Iviaksiaqaluallu tikitkaa aimaarvini. Agalaan maluunaqsingamalaq. Inñoquluk tikinngamaluq iviaksiaqaluallu piingaan. Ivaqaleqsimaluq sumittaimma. Nikatjakkumañainniqsuq. Paqit qaangaarnagu ivaqtani. Nunaaqqiq ikiwaqtuaqaniqsuq. Iñungi tuquttaqtaaganiqsit.
So enter the villain. The terrible man has destroyed the city or the village and burned the place to the ground, looking for something, and clearly will stop at nothing to get it. It is said that with each gust of wind, the powdery snow blew in every direction. Robert Cleveland, Nussrek, from the storm at the very beginning. Okay, continuing on.
Niveaksiarolo upperingit ka tautuk tani. Tautukunak tuak sunapayak sa kuminganiksok. Niveaksiarolo iyuniakatingi pisaulaganiksut. Kano kumnya? Ano kulak paskinyam dahil na kuminyait ka? Tamanga ikumawak tuaming kakrakpam inyo liptaktak. Sumalagula kami ni Beaksiarolo pichinyingani. Agalan kakrak paskinyat sa gabing aitik. Imenyawrat sa gabing sa mga nunamin. Kay Gwen tuting ukalagtok inyugungarwa upik. Kano ko ilisimanak pa nga. Isumulagtok ni Beaksiarolo. Kano kita pura kau nagingagikpen. Kilaw di ka piup ko. Ikayo ko niya kalawikpen kimon. Dahil nanakik sa bakit ilanga.
Okay, so in order to hunt down the man, we need to assist this fine scrimshaw smoking gentleman and get his drum back for him. Kind of cool stuff. I don't know if you've noticed the movie sequences at the beginning sections are actually scrimshaw, the scrimshaw drawings and stuff like that, and that leads us to one of the insights.
So scrimshaw is this really beautiful method of art that's done either on baleen or ivory, and traditionally it was used to tell stories.
Each etching is telling a story of some event. Caribou hunting was taking place. This is what was going on. War began around this time, and so it sort of gives you a timeline of history through etching.
An elder or the person who carved it would literally be able to read the scrimshaw story.
They're like reading a book, in a way.
A lot of the storytelling traditions would be things that after the storytelling was done, we'd just rely on the next person telling it. And so scrimshaw is a very important way for Alaskan Native people to record their history.
Caribou was, it provided for us in many ways.
Our clothing in those days was made of all caribou skin.
I grew up wearing caribou bands, mittens, caribou skin mattress, blankets.
Some people had boots that were made with wolf leggings, sealskin sole bottoms. Baleen was shaved to make insoles. They kept us quite dry and warm as well. But the caribou skin clothing was the best. We would get as many yearlings as we could for our outer clothing. And for heavy winter, we would get caribou in February or March because the hair was the longest and the skin was the thickest, and we would use those for our winter gear. With that stuff on, you could sleep outside in 50 below and it wouldn't bother you a bit.
Silla is the weather. It also means the atmosphere. Here's the Nuna, or the land. And it's anything from the land into the moon, the sun, the stars. That's Silla.
It's a very spiritual, and we have a relationship with Silla. Silla has a soul in the same way we do as people, in the same way animals do.
I think spirit helpers in and of themselves are really about how we're connected with things. And so it may be that there's a spirit helper that shows themselves as a bird to show you the way home, or it may be a spirit helper that actually decides to show themselves with the face and body of a man instead of their animal form. And so I think one of the things that's hard to understand is that it's not one way of seeing things, it's one way of knowing you're connected to everything.
We've always had that spirituality of everything around us.
It's the interaction you have with the air you breathe, the ocean that you gather resources from, the rivers from which you gather fish, the tundra from which you pick berries, the animals that give themselves. It's all of that.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so a couple of things here. Pointed out that there is something, as far as the fox is concerned, in this story. I don't know if you caught it there in the beginning sequence, because he talks about it. But there's something different about this fox because it seems to be able to communicate with the spirit world, which is where the loons came from, and some of the other things. Also, obviously, right here we have the owls. I love the owl man, and the owls denote actually save points and cultural insight items. So we'll keep an eye out for them as well going along. You'll kind of see that the platformer side of this is quite forgiving. It tends to be that if you really mess it up, you might have to go back just a few steps. So we'll try to avoid as much of that as we can. But yeah, now is where the adventure gets moving. Thanks again, everybody, for jumping on in. I see Coley's out there. Good to see you, sir. And yeah, it's really awesome. It's just it's a neat video game experience. And yeah, I thought it was one of the ones that I really wanted to show on here. Also wanted to say hello and once again, thank you for tuning on in to Tia Jenkins. Blind, it's always good to see you, and glad you could make it for this. I thought you'd kind of dig the look of this game. It's pretty neat. Also, a big thank you to Hick for tuning on in. Good to see you, sir, and glad you could make it. And once again, big thanks to Ra. Let me know if anything goes sideways on us. Okay, so yeah, like I said, we've got this. The other part of this is that the two of them have to switch back, and you kind of see me there switching back and forth. And there are just some sections of it where she's a little slower than the fox at moving, but he's a little more sporadic with where you can kind of move as far as the jumping goes. So it's kind of a cool little switch back and forth here in this next section. And it really kind of shows something other than snow everywhere. So again, thanks everybody for tuning on in, and enjoy the next part.
Qilararak tuat niversiarualo nutqakke. Asi anibliting suna ittuktusurugumaga. Ibeaksiarualo savattuqumi ahlawit imminyaurat paqitka uppium qilautinga. Ibeaksiarualo kutingaroq qilautiligaajuni. Uppiqqupiatchapalugaroq. Asiitamura piviuttaqiliutipiallagaga ibeaksiarualuk. Taennajuni aitsuutiqilaqangaroq. Uppik uqallaktoq. Uvvauna kaunariingagiga iliginun pikitquvlugu. Tabratainna igilehutik. Libeaksiarualum atuqa uppium aichuta. sila taane nunaakkingata innyuqulukkassuaak. Innyuquluum tautukamium nutqaqugaa. Agalaani veaqsiaqarualuk saperinaqsimaruk. Qinnalifsaapiaq toqtautukamiu qilamitaa. Tabra ivaqtani tautukkai. Qinnalifsaapiaq toqtautukamiu qilamitaa. Tabra ivaqtani tautukkai. Annap qaaslikkaluaqtuk agalaan igilaunigak siqqaqanaqsisiinnyaqtuq.
Continuing on. Following that, it stopped briefly, then it became windy all over again. It was difficult to see anything in the blizzard.
Malagogone ovulogone wishaublutik. Tabra tuwakaroa mo tikitsyok. Agalan tuwawit pagabitsyok. siku nalunak tok kanok igilekaniak tilanga. Pisasa ko may akalugon nanok anak kubit. Pinatitaka bicho. Kakame nanok di katsalaycho. Agalan taman nano na ang laut. talaniqsoq qanupayaaq. Tapkuak tikissakkaak nannupsitranga. Asi piyumagilipiksuaqaik tikissaktuak. Anna kalluaqtuk aglaan ilitsuqiluk annapeaqtilaangan nunam atimikini.
In the winter, when we were traveling, we didn't build sod houses, we built snow houses. In Canada, they call them igloo, but here in Alaska, we call them apuya. We'd do a day of travel, and then we'd make a apuya. The next day, my father would set traps, spend the day there, rest the dogs, give them something to eat, and then the following day, we continued to the next place. We'd go to my dad's sister, who had a house at Dubaruk. They had a small sod house over there. We didn't have to do anything. We just visit with them, and my dad and my sister were glad to see each other, and they'd talk away while us kids played outside or go to sleep. By the time we get back to our home, my father would leave us with our aunt or with my grandmother, and then he'd start on his trips and go check his trap line. We were not into 8 to 5 kind of time, you know. We're in a total different kind. We're in ecological time.
Drum is something that's common to all cultures in Alaska. All cultures have a drum that may have some stylistic differences or differences in the materials that it's made, but it's still in recognition of life and vitality. And the drum mirrors the heartbeat. And when you continue drumming soon, it will be in line with your heartbeat, because that's what it's supposed to be, the heartbeat of the community, and it symbolizes vitality. And it's the most tremendous feeling to be in a room and to have one long row of all the drummers and to have that feeling of unity and everyone beating in harmony, the drum beat in unison. It's the most beautiful feeling. And to know that you're connected, you're on the land that you are connected to. And even if you grew up outside of the community, that which is in you comes from this area. And it's the greatest feeling.
Man, I went at it and look what happens. Oh.
They're just like other people. They just happen to be very small and extremely strong.
These are stories that are common throughout Alaska. It's normally that people are in a size from your elbow to the tips of your fingers, and they possess superhuman strength. So they may be tiny, but they can carry a whole caribou.
And if you go up north and you talk to a number of the people in the community, they'll talk about having seen the little people.
There's a place at home that we know, but we don't profess it to anybody.
But it's not like the boogeyman.
They can be mischievous, they can be ornery, or they can be helpers.
And every now and then, we might have the opportunity to see them, especially if they want us to see them.
The fact that it's across Alaska really tells you something about our history and how we interacted with nature around us.
The bola is what we call kilamitan. And the kilamitan is made out of braided sinew tied out to some heavy bone which you could twirl. In my case, we're catching ducks.
When we're out whaling, sometimes the ducks start flying. And they're good for duck hunting. You know, if you're a whaling crew, you can't make too much noise, so you can't use a shotgun for getting some duck soup handy, you know? So bola was a really handy weapon to use for catching ducks. You know, the ducks fly in, you throw it up and tangles up the bird, and down they go.
The scaredest I've ever been, I was 12 years old. We floated out on a piece of ice while we were duck hunting. It was a bluebird day, just clear blue skies. And there was 3 of us, myself, my brother, and my dad. Next thing you know, we see this dark, dark shadow on the ice. We look and it goes behind us. So we all jumped up, startled, and my dad, he started running. We got back to the ridge there. The ice had fractured, cracked, and broke off, and we were floating away. We were drifting. It was close enough to where my dad would have made it. He stopped and he thought about throwing us across, and if one of us was on the other side, we would be split up. So he stopped, and he just so happened to have a cell phone on him. 911 didn't pick up. That's the worst feeling in the world right there. 911 did not pick up. So he left a message because they record their calls. Once he had relayed that information, his cell phone died. That was the scariest moment I've ever had in my life. We were floating away and I thought we were left for dead. He kept calm during this situation. He's bringing out everything positive in this case. You know, I'm crying, my brother's freaking out. It went from clear blue to dense fog. Within a couple hours, we heard the chopper flying around, so they must have gotten our message. We thought we were saved, and then the chopper sound went away. So we lit some of the sled on fire. It's plastic. We thought black smoke in the fog would create some kind of marker. Chopper pilot had mentioned when we got rescued, you could see a glow in the fog, and he slowed down there, and sure enough, as soon as he slowed down, we got within visual. That was definitely the scariest moment of my life, was floating away and not knowing what the outcome was going to be.
We're very much aware of the climate change. And it's been for many years, even before climatologists were noticing this change, Inuit were already saying, "Sila alangoktok." Our climate is changing.
If the heat is going the way it is right now, for us it's going to be pretty bad. Different birds are coming, and they're coming earlier, and sometimes rain is more than what we want. Because when there's more rain, we know it's going to melt the permafrost.
In my time as a young whaler, when I was 9 years old, we're hunting from ice that was about 25 feet thick. And there was giant icebergs already floating, coming by. That was the first signs of a changing climate. Ice that never broke before was now moving. Now, here it is 50 years later, we're hunting whale from ice that's 18 inches thick. There's no more thick ice.
It's creating a malfunction in our whaling season, is what it is. Actually, more than that, all seasons in general.
I think we are more scientists than more people will realize. We have more knowledge of those things than people will ever know.
Niveaksiagalualugulo diriganniagalu imaaktuk. Asi tagium angalat kaksibilugik. Tagium igukkai kairusunginyun puktaakpau. Ara kanuhurik taimma ipingitpak.
Although Kusunar Kura was a good hunter, during clear weather, the blizzardy weather simply was not a time to hunt. So yeah, like I said, kind of some cool stuff in there. I wanted to get some of the videos in. Looks like we're caught up to the story-based ones, and we'll continue on with the game here. Thanks again for tuning on in, and I hope you're enjoying Never Alone here for HC Media. Once again, my name's Captain Adamos, and appreciate you swinging on by. Hey, what's up, Try? How's it going, man?
Now we spend all our time out in nature. You get very intimate with the world. And over time, if you're living that life, you start to sense that everything has a spirit. There's a consciousness in everything. Everything is alive. If everything is alive, then we want to respect it. And if we're going to use it, we want to use it respectfully.
What I try to tell my nephews and nieces, you know, you love to hunt, you have to take care of the animals that you catch, preparing the food and eating the food that you catch.
Water provides you. The ice brings you life. It provides all those things that you need to be a part of your life.
That was something I grew up with. I grew up respecting the animals. I grew up respecting the land. And that, to me, that is why we as Inupiaq, as an Inupiaq culture, as an Inupiaq people, is why we're so successful.
Nibeak siaralo logulo, terigan niagalo, shuvlo kaik, akabigom kingamigom. Shuvlo kaik akabigom silamon, ila kataktok silamon. Tipineraik sanganun nunaken.
One day he wondered, what, oh what, is causing the weather to be like this anyway?
Tamna nunakek inyit kingainyaksako. Tainaptak pingabulugo. Ibiak siyakarolum ay makaviatun. Kigokayat paumak titkat nunakek. Kigokayat silyagahuting silyamen. Iba haliksut nalakanilay tyonik. Tukkanan. siakalualuulo tiriganniapulo qaqqimmatku imnaq aganet pakimnya tuangasipsaahuni utingal
When I was young, my mom, whenever the Northern Lights came out, she'd just whistle.
Boy, they come alive. Just keep whistling and that aurora will just like, you can almost hear it.
And then she explained to me a little bit later that those are children, and children who've passed away when they were children. You don't want to draw them in too much, is what she said, because then they could play football with your head, play Eskimo football, and that's what they want to do. They're always playing, those children up there.
Don't play out without your hood on. If you don't have your hood on, the Aurora person is going to come down and chop your head off and play ball with your head.
It wasn't like they were trying to do bad, or it was like a scary story or anything like that. It was just, that's how it was. That's what it was. We are taught that there's no hierarchy. It's not everything else, and then man, humans on top, and they're separate from everything. We're taught that everything is equal, and that all the animals have a human form, or can be seen in a human form. And so they have just as much or more intelligence. In fact, have a lot to teach people. And so that's how these transformations can happen. It's if the animal wants you to see it in its human form. There's a story where a man comes up to an ice hole, and then realizes there's another man in his parka that's got stuck in the net, and is just stuck like that. Oh, can you let me out? Please help me, And so then he lets the man out, but then realizes that was actually a seal. That was a seal man. And just because that seal wanted that help, that seal allowed itself to be seen in human form.
Deriganneaq allanngorruni makitqisseq. Naagga taannaittuaq ataramik. 굴랑에 헬리고 나박듯 누나gat 데리가 nem kanyaktit kanutun pagkanak tilangi suli ikayuy Lord Kuchich. Napak to the inyong salap kehoting pakalagat derigan nek. Suli ikayo hulu nibeak si arolu ihilaganingani.
It was dangerous to travel at any distances. All one could see was a mass of white, swirling snow.
Ato holowit sulliqaat ili chatik. Nibiaksiaqarualuullu teriganniavulo akiiligaak inñoqoluk. Inñoqolum tavra iñuusia isuhulitsoq.
He approached this spot and saw, for some reason, the blizzard seemed to be originating from a small tundra meadow. Alright, this is a pretty good little stopping point for a tiny bit. How's everybody doing? Hope you guys are enjoying the stream this evening, doing Never Alone, kind of a cool art type stream. Lots of good little things here in the videos as well. Take a look here in one of the insights.
In, Arctic Alaska, hunting is a really important part of life. It's not just about going and shooting something, it's about going and putting food on the table. But more importantly, subsistence hunting isn't just about the insular family unit, it's about feeding the whole community. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about subsistence hunting in Alaska is that people go out and they'll go get, fish, or they'll get a caribou, and they'll get, seals and whales. And one of the first things they'll do is they'll say, oh, I need to take this to the elders. This isn't just about one individual surviving or one family surviving, it's about the whole community.
We didn't just go out and kill and put in a freezer. It's like a ritual that I learned from my parents.
It's all about relationship. I don't know. I think there's a lot of camaraderie involved, and just being out on the land or being out on the ocean. It's like getting back in tune.
I'd rather be out there. To me, once I go out there, it's the world that I learn from.
I think most central to the ideology of the Inupiat is the idea of sharing.
Being able to feed the community, feed others. That's why we hunt. In the old days, that's what you needed to survive.
The sharing is important because it's how the community survives together collectively.
We just give. That's how I grew up. That's the way I'm always gonna be. Because of who we are, we always think about other people first.
If our people didn't share in the old days, we wouldn't have survived in this harsh, climate, environment.
We have Big Diamond, Little Diamond, and King Island. And in those three islands are the stepping stones to get to America.
So King Island is this absolutely beautiful place off the coast of Alaska. And if you can imagine being on this really kind of rocky island that kind of shoots up from the water to these cliffs, and then all of a sudden you see these stilts, and then you look up and there are these houses.
They were built on the cliff up high because of the ice. Being an island in the Bering Sea, you have ice that's being pushed by the winds onto the island. So it's going to pile up 50, 60 feet high. Structures are still there today, and people have returned to King Island. It's a growing community as the people return back to their island. In the month of November, there's no sun. So during that dark time, we travel by the light of the moon. It's quite different. Everything was silver and black. Toward the horizon, we could see where caribou are because their body heat flowing upward, and we could see it glowing in the moonlight against a dark horizon where there's no stars. If somebody yelled, you could know who yelled from where the sound came from, but specifically where that cloud of their breath went up and it glowed in the moonlight. So that was a good time to travel. It was very surrealistic. And so things that were dark objects looked very close, and white objects looked very far.
So a recurring type of character in Inupiaq stories is the manslayer. And the manslayer is kind of this bad guy. And I think really what's at risk when the manslayer comes into story is the livelihood of individuals and the whole community. And so the manslayer is really used as a way to say, don't act only for yourself, always hold the community in your heart. Oftentimes in these stories, there is one person that will stand up.
And what this humble person will represent, who faces that manslayer, is a return to order, a return to true living in the community. And it just takes that one person. It could just be that one person that can help to change everything. Because everyone wants to live a good life. Everyone wants to have a good community.
All right, well, it looks like we have completed all of the insights there. Let me check again. Yep, it looks like that is all of those. So yeah, it's yeah, Coley, it's definitely kind of a cool thing. Like I said, it's kind of a combination of game and educational item. Pretty good puzzles. Some of the stuff is a little frustrating, as you can kind of see. It's really designed for the co-op, for two people to play at the same time. So sometimes you get that weird things that happen with the AI where it just wants to keep jumping. But aside from that, it's, you know, it's not too bad. Like I said, I'm not a big platformer. I don't do real well with these all the time, but it's just challenging enough to be interesting, and yet difficult enough to be a little frustrating at times. So yeah, it's a good combination, and I like how they did it. The story is pretty amazing. We are I think we've got one more chapter here left, and that'll complete this part of it. And then there's also another DLC that we'll do definitely next week to complete it. But what I'm actually going to do at this point is I'm going to take about 10 minutes and take a little break, because especially when running these kind of games, it just, yeah, you'll start running your head into the wall. So what I'll do is we'll take about, let's see, say about 15 minutes. And I get to actually, the game itself too also comes with the soundtrack, and I'll run that. while we're going along here. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. But yeah, we'll run this, and then we'll get back into the last chapter here of the game, and go from there. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining me here for HC Media, and tonight's kind of cool art game, Never Alone. Alrighty, we are back. Yeah, thanks for tuning on into HC Media's presentation of Never Alone. Like I said, a little different kind of game, and it's like I said, I'm not a huge fan of platformer puzzle games. They just tend to kind of frustrate me sometimes, but this one is well worth going through. Just kind of see the environment and take a look at a lot of the stuff. I love the Northern Lights section of it. Did a very nice job with that, and it's a very entertaining story. And so a couple of the items there off of the soundtrack. Starting off there, we had the Prelude, and then Tundra Nuna's Village, the Ice Flows, the Coastal Village, and then did a couple of the things from the Cultural Insights. The first one, which I really liked, and I thought it was a good one to start off the Cultural Insight with, it would be really nice to hear a story. That's just a neat little thing. And then the second one that I played there, which you just heard finish up there, Cultural Insight, called No More Thick Ice. And yeah, like I said, it's a really kind of cool game. It's a lot of fun, and I love the fact that it supports this, and it teaches you a lot about maybe something that you hadn't really thought of when you started into it. And so it's a very enjoyable kind of story game setup, and I thought it would be a really good one here for HC Media. Okay, so at this point we've established a few things. We got rid of the man killer, the horrible, awful beast that was destroying the villages, and really he was kind of a side effect of the real problem here, which is the winter, the blizzard, and the blizzard followed by another blizzard followed by another blizzard. And you can see that in the game. They do a really nice job with those wind jumps and some of that other stuff where you have to kind of barricade yourself down, because it'll just blow you right off the thing. And it's not too bad as far as like having to go back over it again. But like I said, I always, the platform puzzle type things, I always hate having to go back over the same area over and over again. But it usually only takes a try or two, and I eventually get to the point where I go through. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and this particular one is pretty cool. This last little section right here is really neat, and I enjoy how this goes. Now, okay, so for this, we will continue on here with the stream. And basically my plan was to kind of finish off this story, and then what we'll do is next week we'll do another HC Media stream with the DLC that follows along on the wolf story, or the fox story. It's pretty cool that they kind of put out the second part of it, and it's like I said, I really like how they did this. We get to see here in the coming up section what has caused this, and yeah, I definitely was not it wasn't in my wheelhouse of things that I thought, oh yeah, that's probably what it is. But yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, so we will continue on here with Robert Cleveland Nosark and his story, Never Alone, here on HC Media. Once again, my name is Captain Adamos, and thanks again, everybody, for joining on in, jumping into the chat. Really appreciate seeing all of you here this evening, and I'm glad we got a chance to take a look at this because, like I said, it's kind of a neat game. And it's not, something that maybe you have the time to kind of blow through and tinker with on your own. But there's some kind of cool things. So, again, thanks, everybody. And if you enjoy it, go ahead and hit the like. And don't forget, if you subscribe, any other streams and stuff that I'll be putting up, you should get a notification on all of that and whatnot. All right, so let's get back into and find out what's going on here in the world of Never Alone.
Niverksiarolo kangit ka ibaktane. Inyuk pasumarok. Ulemak tuahalu apun. Siamittakanera. Asi pihirunnik silamun. Siamayaaktillu. Siamayaaktin maung apun. Anoremakkuahariga. Asi aganiroktillugu tungaanun niveaqsiaqaluallum aimaaqavianu tavura kangitkaasumman aganirorutilaanga qanorulunga takpiguaaniarpik niveaqsiaqaluallum qallaqiaqtaq Abulaikkan, atau cikun majokun nearik pok. Kiwa terigan neam.
right, try. Have a good night, man.
Mayok tuwa kanela kaming kanganon inyugpasum. Nibeak siya karualuk isummiksok sulukraute lamenik. Tigilik ko nga ako tigiyak, ulimaw ta. Isumarok. Nalunay tiyok, aganak pangaresil. Paleramek tikinyak tua ulimautek pak. Tigumang ulimautek pak akralik tuk nat kayakatahutek. Inyuk pasum malikatalo ka angulait ka ukilablo ni.
Away he went, with the days as big as a man shoveled the man's snow, creating blizzard after blizzard. However, the big man soon saw him as he grabbed a daze and ran off with it. He threw down his shovel, climbed up from the flat tundra, and ran after Kusanagi, but Kusanagi was too fast.
Ni veak siya ro lag utik tok ay makakawig men yun. Agalaan inyuk pasyo malahiro ka. Ukahone. Ulimau tiga kaizong. Ni veak siya ro lo. Kau tau tiga ulimau. Ipkili siya halo. Ase milok sao te bilugo inyuk pasok mo. Kovea cak paisyo na inyuk pasok. Ilak tok kahone atu raksirok. Kunok sayo ka hangeng. Ule mau tiga kailiga. Ula kuleangea. Ani yubi. Isiga kisimea kenyet paten Niveak siya roaluk ilyatit kiksok ang ayokag menyut.
The big man had seen his Adez being tossed up and out in the skylight, and because this made him so happy, he burst out laughing like this. Kunusakya ayaha oiha.
With the story of Kunuk Sayuka, told by Robert Cleveland, it's just a masterwork. It's a well-known story among the Inupiaq people, and in our case, of producing a video game that really reflects indigenous heritage. It captures the imagination, and it's something that you have a very specific kind of task to do. There's a blizzard, you know, and it is just a non-stop blizzard that is overpowering the people. And there's one man that wants to figure it out. And in our case of the story, it's a girl that wants to find the source of that blizzard. The blizzard man, it's like that is the physical embodiment of an element of nature. And so there's a person that needs to go up and take away that adze, that's chipping away that snow.
In that community, the person least expected is the one who stands up and makes the difference.
Humility is something that we value, and where that comes from is the idea that you are not the biggest thing in the world. And when you live in an extreme environment like where the Inuit reside, you're at the whim of the environment, of the climate, of the animals. You can be as prepared as you can, you know, by learning from your elders that, you know, you're not the biggest force in the world.
Terigan niam nukat piam ukadlaw tiga ni veak siya karolo. Ilanin inyo niya kalo ako bit. Aul lang agalo ako bit. Ay suli ko bit. It kaksa kaging ma. Asita bra tao tukunay kasok. Tat pao nga, taktua mo sila mo. Tabraten na nasum, unip kakamang tusangariga.
And there we have it. The conclusion of this evening's HC Media presentation of Never Alone with Captain Atomos. Want to thank everybody for joining on in this evening, hanging out, and experiencing Never Alone with me. Yeah, that turned out really well. And I actually thought we were going to have to split off the end here. But no, not too bad. Fairly decent time-wise. And good to put on as see it and catch all of the stuff. Now, as I had mentioned before, and here, let me back on out of here. And there is this section as well here called Foxtails. And we can go through and take a look at this on the next one. There's another whole set of things that we can unlock and take a look at. And it's kind of neat. It's got the same sort of setup as this game, and it tells another story. So we'll be taking a look at that on the next HC Media presentation of Never Alone. Once again, I want to thank everybody for joining me here this evening, and this morning, or this afternoon, whatever it may be in your moment of reality. But yeah, like I said, kind of a cool game, and I'm glad I got a chance to share it with you. And we'll do this again next Monday, same time. I've been shooting for this 10 p.m. seems to work. That way everybody can kind of catch the rebroadcast of it, which I will be doing one where I clip out that break that I took there just before the end and trimming it up just a little bit. But for the most part, just kind of covering the whole game and taking a look at it. The other thing I may end up doing is setting up another game as well on the next stream. It depends. Foxtails may not take that much time, but I have another game coming after that is another kind of neat artistic style, and maybe not quite as deep and educational, say, as this game, but definitely kind of a fun one, and I think it'll be kind of neat to take a look at that as well. Don't forget to, we get harmless content on trekradio.net tomorrow night at midnight. You can tune on in and catch that. Actually, you can just tune on in anytime during the day. DJ Blind will be on doing the Tuesday Tornadoes, as she has been doing. And also Hick is doing the Hick at Night program, which will start at 10 p.m. Eastern on trekradio.net. And then you can catch harmless content right after that. We'll be doing probably a Phantom Subspace Drive-In, I believe. But for those of you in the future, you're going to miss those things. I'm sorry. But you can always check out the Trek Radio official Twitch site and take a look. We'll be doing some more of the Thursday Night Watch with Hick in Space, and then HC Space following that. So lots of good stuff that you can always catch up on. In the meantime, once again, I want to thank everybody for joining me here this evening for this kind of cool little gaming experience that I thought people would enjoy. So again, have a great night, and take care. We'll see you again real soon for another HC Media.